As you can see behind me, this is a list of my favorite war movies. And as I was going through it, I realized I only had 73 movies, which is one of my least watched genres. But looking around here, I just, per capita, bangers all around. So I'm going to hit some that Letterboxd says is not as popular in hopes that maybe you haven't seen them and you can experience them for the first time. But yeah, let's talk about some of my obscure favorites. Ip Man is so cool. Honestly, the whole series is pretty great, but this one in particular hits the hardest for me. As it says, the celebrated kung fu master of Bruce Lee. This guy is awesome. He has a fighting style that often people felt was only for women, but he thought it was great to divert movement more than like enact it upon people, until one moment when he really does. I think this is an incredible movie. It's about when the Japanese occupied this particular part of China. And it's just like a really fascinating time of history with some really sweet action. Must watch. Listen, it's not a masterpiece, but it is masterfully fun. I think that this movie has a ton of like really fascinating elements in it. Obviously, it's kind of like this body horror mad scientist in a village and a couple army soldiers essentially get dropped into this town and have to find their way out. I think there's just a lot of like cool, interesting ideas in this. Don't look for epiphanies, just look for fun. This is fun. If you saw my 66 best horror movie countdown, then you already know about this movie. But for the uninitiated, I think this is the perfect way to blend horror with showing what happens being in a war torn country. Obviously, during the Iran Iraq war, they're in Tehran, and it's about this mother basically protecting her daughter, and there's something haunted in their house that they can't escape. I just remember the duct tape on the windows to, protect the window from shattering because there's so much explosions that go on outside. There's all these like little details that make this just a really beautiful movie. If you like The Babadook, this is a good one to check out. Where Eagles Dare, Clint Eastwood in his very, very prime. This is honestly just like a great sort of like shoot 'em up going in on a mission and getting in way over your head. And there's a great set piece with this like giant gondola thing that I think is just amazing. I don't think a lot of people nowadays have watched it, but you should. A movie about violence, but the one person that doesn't want to enact it. I think it's a very heroic movie. Despite what you think of Mel Gibson, he can direct a movie really well, and Andrew Garfield is great in this and shows of a real hero that basically went against the grain and saved a lot of lives in the process. Amazing. I also love war movies that just don't feel entirely like war movies, but use the place of unrest to express something bigger. Pan's Labyrinth does this amazingly. Let me know what your favorites are.